Happy lunchtime on the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum show. Hope you're doing well today. Bubbles was here. She wanted to grace our audience with her appearance here. Anyway, hope you're doing well. It is lunchtime. It's like 12:30, almost 12:30 here on Eastern Standard Time here on the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum show. Just getting some stuff done. To be honest, I went down and played with the choo-choo trains for a little bit. Take a break from work. Just figure something else out. Just change my brain. Anyway, I want to talk today about designing, which I should have done. I should have cleaned this board off. Designing your team board for when you run daily scrums. And this is our, we team HR Wednesday that we typically do. And this is a team topic because I think of daily scrum as a team meeting. It's where the team gets together and discuss what they're going to do. So it's really a team event. So I wanted to bring that up today and share some board technology because I have seen both and had debates with other agile coaches way in my career. Do you run a daily scrum based on project or feature or epic, or do you run it based on people? And I'm gonna say it depends on how you design your workflow, how your team works the work that they have. So we're gonna talk about that a little bit. Talk about the pros and cons a little bit for both of them. And this is 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show, our lunchtime edition, because I didn't do it this morning. And getting used to the kids going to school and everything and figuring out all those agendas and times and things like that. So here in the 5 a.m. Mester Scrum Show, which you can see in our mission statement, we are here about helping you bring value to customer without working extra hours to bring that value to customer and have a little fun along the way. And today I want to talk about daily scrum because it's part of it's about inclusion. And one of the things I try to emphasize is as we do daily scrum, I want to make it valuable for everyone. And that may be a separate conversation about daily scrum. And I think I will save that for another one. Today, I want to concentrate more on team boards. How do you design your team boards? And I did get my whiteboard here. I was just cleaning it out. And part of the difference, and I'll write on it and then I'll share it, is how are you working as a team? Is your team designed where individuals work on epics or features at a time? Or is it a group outing? Is it a group effort where more than one tester works on a particular feature at a time? And you have limited number of epics and features that you're putting in your sprint, limited number of goals, right? You should have very limited goals there. But I've been in places where they would have multiple goals, multiple epics and process and things like that too. And it depends how it is. Are you doing it as a group, as a team, or are you working as individuals where every story is a different person and everyone's different and you don't necessarily include other people in the work other than ask them a question, how do you do this or fix this, or I'm stuck here, what's your thoughts? But if the two are actually working in the code together or testing together, then that's a different makeup, right? I think the ideal scrum is where more than one person are working on a particular feature to get it done in the sprint versus individuals working on individual efforts. And there's lots of conversation on that. And I think I've talked about it before. Maybe I'll bridge that again too. But let's talk about it. So you got your daily boards, right? I'm going to say by person. I kind of like person, be honest with you. I'm a little more on the person side, but I do both. And I actually use both. And maybe that'll be a future discussion. And then we're epic. And maybe this is like a Jira board or your daily scrum, your Kanban board for your scrum team or something like that. This is by person, by epic. So you'll have these three columns. I'm gonna leave it as to do, in process, and done. Just to make it simple on the board. So I got to do, in process, and I got done, right? Now, the way that Jira operates, and most of them all operate the same way. If we did it by person, it would be like Joe, and then it has all Joe's stuff on their board, and then there would be a little divider, and maybe it says Jane, and Jane has hers, right? Maybe there's an Emily. I should use all the names of people I've worked with in the past. I might get them a little upset, right? So Emily has a couple in work process and one done. So here you see the flow in the daily Scrum where it's by person, where I can go in a room or anybody can say, Joe goes, and then Jane goes, and then Emily goes, and then, maybe Greg does. I don't know. What depends what I design for the team when I'm a developer or a tester. So each person in the group, one by one, goes through the flow. This is good when people are working on individual stuff. They don't usually cross. This is where that description I was saying, where people, only time people maybe Jane will ask, or Joe will ask Jane a question, is when they're stuck on something and they need a little help. Now by epic, so we got epic 1, we got epic 2, maybe got epic 3. So you got 3 epics, and then there'll be stories. And one would be Joe, one would be Jane, maybe one will be by Emily, and then this one's Emily. So in here, there's different stories or tasks, mostly stories. Joe and Jane, and maybe one here for Jane and in the beginning, because they shouldn't have more than 2 things at a time in process, right? Maybe so you got Emily's got one in process, and maybe Joe's got one done. Okay, so we got it by epic. So in the other version, you can do swim lanes by epic. You can also do it by there's lots of capabilities in there where you can do it by query and stuff like that. But you have to be careful on the query thing. But I'm just going to 2 simple ones. So epic or project, but the overall work getting done versus individual time. This is good when you are looking at a group where they all work on the same epic. Here you can see all the names are working on stories that are related to the same epic or same feature. Make sure I got that here. Oops. Right there. So on the epic side, they're all doing the same kind of thing. Epic 2, they're all kind of working together on the epic together. Epic 3, that's where everyone's working on the same effort at the same time, or maybe not exactly the same time, but they're all working, contributing to the effort getting done. And again, where the people is where more they're doing individual stuff. Why do I say this? If they're all working on it, they'll all talk, right? If they're not all working on stuff, you have to be careful. Like, let's say Joe wasn't working on Epic 1, right? So Joe doesn't say anything in the beginning or share anything. And maybe Joe is only working on Epic 3 just because maybe Joe has some special capabilities or not knowledge or understanding. So he's only working thing. So Joe doesn't really talk the entire time during the daily Scrum, right? But if they're all working on individual stuff and may or may not be epic based, and there may be some scatter thing where not everyone's applying to everything, this help does more of an inclusive way of looking at it because everyone gets a chance to talk. Now, my workaround, this is good for getting stuff done, right? Delivering features or epics to the customer. This is probably the more preferred way of doing it, just because you can say, well, what do we got to do? Let's say we only had one. Let's say we only had one less item. Let's say on the Epic 1. Let's say an Epic 1. Maybe Joe was doing it too. Maybe Joe's got. So maybe an Epic 1, I have all but one item is done in this first Epic. And as soon as we get them all done, we can deliver them to customer. This may be a good conversation. What do we need to do to help Jane out to get that item done, right? So that's a good conversation. Now, sometimes when you do this, not everyone on the team, and sometimes the way teams are designed, and again, this is how your team's designed. If not everyone's working on the epics, right? Maybe they're doing something. Maybe they're doing some support work, or maybe they're just doing some special projects and on the board. but they do want to share and talk and be a part of the team. What I would do, sometimes what I would do, I do two things. I personally, this is my own pet peeve. I like to do the in person. Now, this way, everyone gets a chance to talk in the team. You don't miss anybody. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Really helpful for the virtual environment. Then what I do as a Scrum Master, I might come back by Epic and just revisit some of the things. I pre-look at the board, by the way. I don't do it. I don't do it on the seat of my pants. But if I see like, hey, and no one brought it up during the previous conversation, I might say, hey, in part of this Epic, what can we do to get this one done? Right? And I might, as a Scrum Master, and some say, hey, it's not the Scrum Master's job to talk during a daily Scrum. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. But it is your job as Scrum Master to make sure flow is moving, things are moving along, and help them see something they may not see because maybe they're concentrating on just their items in their that they have in their to-dos, right? They may not be looking at an Epic level. It'd be nice if they did, but I'm going to be honest with you, most developers and testers, they look at what's in front of them. Like Joe might just look at these items and not look at anything else on the board. They may or may not, but our job as Scrum Masters and product owners, or mostly Scrum Masters, make sure we're looking, and then the team takes into account the whole board. So sometimes it's helpful to have a Scrum Master say, hey, is there anything we can do to get this one done? Because then we can say this one's done, and then the team gets credit for getting that epic or feature done in the sprint. And that's our job as Scrum Masters and Agile coaches, is to help them achieve wins, right? So I wanted to share that with you. Two thought processes. If you use by person, okay, that is where the work is individual, not as much teaming. Used by Epic if you're doing more teaming effort and you have cross training, cross capability among the team, that they can jump in on the epics and pick up stuff to get product to done, right? Bigger products, right? Bigger products, goal items type thing. So I wanted to share that with you. It's just something on We Team HR Wednesdays. A way of looking at daily Scrum as a way should match how you have your team and the way they do work. It's not just necessarily a Scrum board, right? By each individual person. It depends how they're working and how you leverage that. And with that, I want to wish you the best. Have a great day. I wish you happy Scrumming, and you all take care now, and see ya.